Y'all don't come for my little 1990s table tray, because I know it's looking rough. What is up, flockers? That is my fellow lockers and aspiring lockers. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make the interlocking tool that I use for my retightenings and show you how simple and easy it is to go from a larger one to a smaller one. So stick around. So today, the supplies that we're gonna need for this project is, of course, your yarn needles, or whatever they call them, needles. You can get them at your local Walmart. You can check your other grocery stores, or you can do like I did and get them on Amazon, because that is the best place for me to shop for most of the stuff, so I don't have to actually go to the store. For the way that I do it, you will need a pair of scissors. I choose the jumbo ones because you might hurt your hand if you try to use smaller ones. And then I also have a knife that I will be using in this video. The ones that I got come in 3 sizes. There is a small, medium, and large. Depending on the size of your locks and how long your hair is, can determine which one of these needles that you use. This small one that I have right here is actually one that I already dwindled down, because their smallest one is this size. So you can see the difference in them. Honestly, right now, because the length of my locks, I can easily do a retightening with any of the sizes, even with the larger one, because my hair can stretch, or not stretch, but my hair's long enough that I don't need it to be shorter. But if you have shorter locks, or if you just prefer to have more versatility and mobility with your actual needle as you're doing your retightnings, then you might want to make a smaller one like I did. It's easier, it's small, it's compact. Obviously you can take it in a small little carrying case with you more places, and it just makes the retightening process quicker because you have a smaller tool that you're working with when you go in to do your reties. And so to me, there's just less margin for error when you have a smaller tool, because you can feel your way through, or you can see if you're using sight. So I just prefer to have a smaller tool. So let's go ahead and get onto the actual creating or whatever. Obviously, I didn't make this, it was already made. I'm just making it into a version that works better for me. So with the medium size one, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to take my scissors, and you cut the length that you want. So if I only want to take off this much, then that's where I'll cut. If I want it super short, although I wouldn't want to make it too short, because you still need to leave room to whittle, which you'll see in a minute. So I'll go ahead and cut it about halfway. Come on, don't do me wrong on camera. All right, so I have cut it. Oop, come on, there we go. I've cut it, and now it is half of the length that it was before. We have the piece that came off. So the actual needle part, like I said, is half of what it was before. But now I have this stub on here, which honestly, I'm gonna try to get it so that you all can see it. I don't want to put this through my lock because it can easily catch my hair and my roots on that. That's not what we want. We want a pointed edge, which is where the knife will come into play. I've seen some people use fire to burn the ends of it, but again, I want my edge to be sharp. I don't want a blunt edge. You could use scissors to do this part, but for safety reasons, I choose to use my knife so that I have a little bit more control. So I'll be using my knife to pretty much carve down the end, to carve it down into a point. This one, when I cut it, was also blunt like this and just a circular, but I carved it into a pointed top. All right, so that is what I'm going to do now. And you can choose, I mean, if you want a long point, then you can start the whittling or whatever it's called up higher. Or if you just want it to be the end of it, then you can do the end. And y'all don't come for my little 1990s table tray, because I know it's looking rough. It has probably been in my family since the 90s, for real, for real. So yeah, that's why I'm not too worried about getting marks in it, because it's old and it is just down here in my basement, serving as a table to hold supplies up for me. All right, so I literally just turn it as I go, and I cut little pieces off as I go. Now this does take some time, because as you cut these pieces off, it's going to cause jagged little edges. Y'all like, you jacking your table up? Yes, I am. But like I said, I literally use this for nothing except to hold products as I'm doing my videos, and so I'm not worried about it getting messed up. All right, so as you can see, we've only been doing it for about a minute, and we're already getting a point, but you can't just leave it there, because it will still snag as it goes through your locks. So you don't want to just leave it there. You can choose at what point, how sharp you want it and how small you want it. If you have Microlocs, sister locks, brother locks, and the base of your roots are not long, obviously, or not big, sorry. The width of your locks or the diameter of your locks is not large, then you obviously don't want a huge point that is having to go through at your roots, because the last thing you want to do when you already don't have a lot of hairs in each lock is to compromise that lock by breaking off any of the hairs unnecessarily. You're gonna have shedding, that's normal, but what we don't want to do is cause, I'm sorry that I am shaking the mess out this camera. We don't want to cause premature or unnecessary breakage of our locks. And if the tip of the needle is not sharp enough, sorry, it doesn't need to be sharp, but if it's not pointed enough, then you could be stretching out the base of your lock. So again, you just have to use your discernment and your judgment to know what type of points you need on your needle. Do you need it to be super small, or are your locks larger and the base of your locks larger, so that you can afford to have a less pointed tip? All right, so I've gotten it to a place where I'm happy with the tip size. Okay, so I'm happy with the amount of pointage that we have, and then from there you just want to smooth it out. I don't know how well it's coming across on camera, but there are parts on here that are still a little jagged, and so if I were to, like, you see that, so if I were to try to put that through my roots right now, it would get caught and it would cause that unnecessary breakage that I was talking about. So at this point, you don't want to dig anymore. You just want to lightly graze around with your knife or your scissors or whatever to make sure that you're getting all of those flyaway pieces, and make sure that it is nice and smooth, so that way when you do go to do your retightening and take it through your hair, you are not pulling at your roots, you are not snagging your hair, it's not getting caught. The last thing you want to do is get one of these things caught in your roots, and then the only way to get it out is to snatch it out. It hurts, it doesn't feel good. Don't be about that life. So, like I said, if you need to pick it up and go in the other direction with it, be very careful so that you do not cut yourself. But at some points, in order to get all of the shavings or the grooves that you made, you may need to pick it up and kind of do like this, so that you can make sure that you're getting it as smooth as you need it to be for your hair. And you just do this until you get to a place where you feel comfortable with it. You know, you could test it out. Of course, it feels differently on your fingers than it's gonna feel on your roots. And so I would test it out as you're going along. Not in a sense, but like take one and put it through the root bed, gently, of course, and just see, does it go through? Oop, you see? It's not going through, it's getting caught. Thankfully it didn't get caught hard, but it did get caught. So if I were trying to force this through, that could be painful and it could rip locks or rip out hair. So I see that I still have grooves here. I need to make sure that these grooves are smooth because it is not allowing for me to make it all the way through my lock bed without causing snagging. And we do not want snagging. All right. Then once you feel like you've gotten into a place where you are comfortable with it and you feel like it is smooth, then you're done. You've got your lock tool. It is a fraction of the size that it was before. And now you are ready to go. Now you can pop this in your pocket and whatnot. And also, I like the size that comes on these. It perfectly fits my locks. I've never had an issue with getting my locks through. Even my thicker ones, it just goes through the eye of the needles really well without any problems. But if your locks are a little bit thicker than what goes through the eye of the needle, you can simply take your scissors or your knife and gently expand it like that. If you do it too quick or too hard, you will break it. So you do want to be gentle with it as you expand it. It is plastic, so it can break, and you don't want to break it after you spend all that time doing that, but you can make this hole or the eye of the needle wider. I hope you found this video helpful. Go ahead and hit that like button so that I know what type of content you are enjoying, and hit that subscribe button so that you can join the flock. And while you're here, stick around and watch some of my other videos that have popped up. I will see you over there.